Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today I'm bringing you guys an update to my Toon deck profile. This is going to be kind of a medium budget build, but overall the deck is still pretty budget, depending on how you want to build it. There's a little bit more expensive ways you guys can always run the deck, like by running Pot of Prosperity and stuff, but I actually do like running routes like Pot of Extravagance, which you guys will see in this deck. So overall, basically, this is kind of the budget build, but overall, it just does not really get that expensive as you go along, now that a lot of these cards have gotten reprinted. So anyways, let's get on into the deck profile, but don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. I would really appreciate it. But anyways, we are going on into 3 copies of Toon Blackluster Soldier. This card is kind of the heart and soul of the deck. For being able to just do like really nice spot removal or be able to help to OTK your opponent. This is overall kind of like the OTK build of the deck. You can kind of run like a more control version because the deck can run kind of slow, or you can just play like the really aggressive cards and try to run a more, like I said, aggressive style version of the deck. So we're kind of going for an OTK, so you can just special summon him out to the field and then go in for 3,000 damage because he can actually attack during the turn that he's summoned, even though a lot of the other ones can't. But he does require 8 levels to be able to special summon him onto the field. However, you can just generally cheat him out through like various other ways, like with Toon Dark Magician right here, or with like the Red Eyes Toon Dragon and whatnot. So anyways, 3 copies of Toon Dark Magician. This card's just really nice for being able to special summon out a Toon from your deck, or to be able to add a Toon spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Just really nice. Definitely want to be playing it at 3 copies. Then 2 copies of Red Eyes Toon Dragon. This card is also just really good. Being able to special summon out a monster from your hand is always really good. These are both also level 7s, so you can go into some cool rank 7 plays, which we will get to a little bit later. Then going on, we have 3 copies of the Blackstone of Legend. This card is really just for being able to get into your Red Eyes Toon Dragon quicker. Because then you just don't need to draw it. That's why we're only playing 2 copies of the Red Eyes Toon Dragon. Getting back into the Toons, though, we are playing 2 copies of Toon Harpy Lady. She's also really good because she's also able to attack during the turn, or she cannot attack during the turn she's summoned. I'm sorry. She can special summon herself out onto the field if you want to, and then she's just able to get you free like link material and stuff onto the field, and also she can destroy 1 spell or trap on the field when she gets summoned. So she's just really nice that you don't need to like rely on stuff like Nightmare Phoenix and stuff. You can just kind of run her and you're going to be pretty solid on spell and trap removal. Then we have 1 copy of Toon Dark Magician Girl. She actually can attack during the turn that she's summoned, which is really good. And she can special summon herself from the hand by just giving a tribute. So you can kind of summon out your Toon Harpy Lady and then tribute it to special out your Toon Dark Magician Girl, which is always really cool. Then we're going on into 1 copy of Toon Cyber Dragon. This card is just also really nice because it can special summon itself out onto the field if your opponent controls a monster and you control nothing. Then also with that, then you can link into fusion. As you guys saw, if your opponent has a monster in the extra monster zone, generally it's going to be a link monster. Then you can just go on into your Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. It's not a fusion summon, it's just a special summon, but is really nice to be able to get around some of your opponent's big monsters that are just sitting in the extra monster zone. Just go ahead and take them to be able to use as your special summon material. Then lastly, you are going to be going into 3 copies of Nibiru. Nibiru is actually really important for this particular build, which we will get to in a little bit, but overall, just Nibiru is still just a really good hand trap to have. He's just overall really solid, but again, we will get into why he is very important for this build in a minute. But that's going to do it for the monsters. Getting on into the spells, we're playing 3 copies of Toon Kingdom. I know that sometimes this card can kind of bob around and be expensive, so but I would still say that this card is definitely necessary to be able to run. But yeah, Toon Kingdom, very good for the deck, being able to add protection on your guys and whatnot. Very good. Then we're getting on into 3 copies of Toon Table of Contents. Obviously, you want to be running 3 copies of this just to get into your really important cards, and then 3 copies of Toon Bookmark. So basically with this, you basically have your, 10 copies of being able to get into Toon Kingdom or whatever Toon cards that you need to with the Toon Bookmark, being able to search Toon Table of Contents, and then being able to get you into whatever you could possibly desire for the deck, which is just super duper cool. Then 3 copies of Toon Page Flip. This card is super duper good also for being able to special summon out those important starter cards like Toon Dark Magician, your Toon BLS if you didn't draw into it. Whatever you need. Basically, you just kind of want to end your, you want to get your board before, like, battle phase to be Toon BLS, and then Red Eyes Toon and Toon Dark Magician. So just whatever you kind of need, whatever card you're missing, you just kind of use Page Flip to increase your consistency. Then this is a going second deck, so we're playing 3 copies of Comic Hand. This card is just super duper good for being able to, like, snatch steal your opponent's monster, and then it just gives them the ability to also attack directly, which is super duper cool. Comic Hand for this deck in particular is just so good for being able to steal your opponent's monster, and then you can just bash into them with their own thing. And then the secret weapon of the deck, 1 copy of Shadow Toon. This is the reason why Nibiru is so good for this deck. The reason being is that if your opponent starts comboing off and they're able to go into, like, maybe even monsters that have like 6,000 attack, then you can just go ahead and Nibiru before they can get into like an Appaloosa or whatever to have a bunch of monster negates. So then basically you tribute. Your opponent now has a monster with a 6,000 attack token, or even if it's just a 5,000 attack token, then you go ahead and use Shadow Toon during your turn, and you attack directly with BLS, and that's going to be your 8,000 damage that you need. So it's just really good, really cool. If you open up with Nibiru and Toon Blackluster Soldier, and you have some way to get into Shadow Toon, whether it's your Toon Table of Contents or your Toon Bookmark, it's just really cool, really satisfying to know that, like, as long as your opponent doesn't have too many interruptions, you're probably going to be able to figure out a way to get into Shadow Toon and be able to beat them that way. Then we're getting on into 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. Like I said, this card is just my preferred way to draw in the deck rather than Pot of Prosperity. There's a lot of consistency boosters in this deck. Like I said, you have 10 ways to get into Toon Kingdom. You have your Toon Page Flips to be able to get you basically whatever monsters that you're missing. So it's just really good. It's already consistent enough. You just need to get to more cards. Then there's the 1 copy of Terraforming. Like I said, we have our 10 copies of Toon Table of Contents. We have 1 copy of Triple Tactics Talent, and then 1 copy of Called by the Grave. The 1 Toon card that I did not include in here that I generally like to keep is 1 copy of Toon Terror, but I would actually now move this on into the side deck. That's how I've been utilizing this when I've been playing around with it. Now it's just in the side deck for if I know that my opponent's going to force me to go first because they know that I'm playing an OTK deck. So generally that was always in the main deck, but I just wanted to make that clear that now I've moved Toon Terror out, put it in the side deck, and just kind of kept the room for Triple Tactics Talent. That way, if you get hit by like an Ash Blossom, you can still try to draw 2 and get into some more combo pieces. But that's going to do it for the 40 card main deck. Let's get on into the extra. So since we're playing Extravagance, the extra deck looks a little bit weird, but we're playing 3 copies of Chimera Tech Megaflate Dragon just so we can try to get into it as quickly as possible. Being able to suck up our opponents like towers, monsters, and whatnot, and use them as our own like material to be able to fuse is really cool. Then we have our 3 copies of Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, just kind of a nice little option. If you can't totally OTK your opponent, you can still at least go into Red Eyes Flare. You can attack directly with this. You know, let's say you get that Shadow Toon for 5,000 damage, go with Red Eyes, Flare Metal, attack for like another bit of damage, and then during your opponent's turn, they're going to be taking 500 damage for every effect that they're using, so it's really cool to use that way. 1 copy of Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. I did check for the budget version. This card is like $3 if you go for the new secret rare version out of whatever set it was. But yeah, overall, this card is really not that expensive anymore, so that's really good. Really great option to use because we have so many high-level monsters. It actually is a really nice option for this deck. Then we have our 2 copies of Nightmare Phoenix, just to have them as backups if we can't get into our Toon Harpy Lady. 2 copies of Nightmare Unicorn, 2 copies of Appaloosa, just so we have that as an option. And then lastly, just to finish off, like in battle, if we can't OTK with our Toon monsters, we have 2 copies of Boral Sword Dragon. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this Toon deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is definitely one of my favorite decks. I know that it's a lot of your guys' favorite decks as well. I always get comments on these profiles and stuff. So hopefully you guys like the update. There wasn't really a whole lot of new cards in here, just like a little bit of new theory, trying to work on keeping it down to 40 cards and whatnot. So just figured I'd give you guys this little update, and if there's anyone new to the channel, just so you guys can just sort of see how my build looks if you guys haven't seen the older video. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed this one, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well if you guys enjoyed it, and make sure to check out the Patreon if you guys want to help to support the channel. I would really appreciate it. Anyways, we will catch you guys for the next profile. Peace.